women appreciate being included, but not in terms of a token inclusiveness. Rather than saying, oh, let's get a woman's perspective, include everybody as though they are equals. That's the inclusion feature here. Good morning. My name is David Kuhl. I'm a professor in the Faculty of Medicine at the University of British Columbia. I'm also a co-founder of an organization named Blueprint, and I'm really, really pleased to join you today. We've done a number of research projects. One of the ones that we're very pleased about has to do with looking at the business world post-Me Too. We decided that we'd look at it quantitatively and qualitatively. So we did focus groups. Some focus groups were exclusively male, some exclusively female, and some combined. We found that the differences, there were no differences in those groups. They basically responded in a similar way. After we'd done those focus groups, we then designed a survey that we distributed to 3,500 participants in Canada, the United States, to ask questions about what impact did Me Too have on you. There results on sort of two sides of the coin. What we learned is that Me Too served a purpose in terms of creating awareness in men that the world wasn't what they wanted it to be. It also made them aware of the differences with regard to attitudes towards inclusion and diversity. And 2/3 of them, through the events that followed Me Too, became concerned and more committed to developing more effective ways of inclusion and diversity in their organizations. The flip side is that women also appreciated that the world had changed, but not enough, that there's still a lot to do. We learned that it's only the beginning, and it's important for organizations to ask then, so what? So we've learned this. Now what do we do with this? One of the really important features is that men recognized that they needed to be better allies in the workplace. We worked with a very large organization. There was only one woman on the leadership team. So we asked the men and the woman what it was like, or what was their perception of the position that the woman held. And all the men responded that she must feel very lucky and very fortunate to be that person. When we asked her, she said, I don't feel lucky at all. I am the only voice amongst all these men, and I feel that if I fail, I am not just failing myself, I'm failing all women. And women appreciate being included, but not in terms of a token inclusiveness. Rather than saying, oh, let's get a woman's perspective, include everybody as though they are equals. That's the inclusion. From that, what we learned that there's a need for men to be curious. Right? And that while we may have an intention about our relationships, our intent doesn't determine the impact or the outcome. Unless we have a curiosity about how we're relating to women, unless we ask them, we mustn't make any assumptions. It may be important for me to speak up when there are inappropriate comments, off-color jokes, or when somebody isn't included in the same way that some of the other men in the group might be included. One of the findings of the study is that many men feel that other men aren't as committed to inclusion and diversity as the individual man might say he is. There's a twist to that, so that men are often silent and they become bystanders rather than actively involved because they're concerned of their own exclusion if they speak up. There's an irony to that, right? So that I see what I need to do, and I believe that I myself am the sort of most enlightened person here, and because of that, I am silenced within my own fear and anxiety of being excluded. So I need to have the awareness of the world around me, but I also need to have an awareness of my internal landscape and what is keeping me silent, and what would be required of me in order to speak up, to have a voice, to actually move from being a bystander to being involved and inviting people to participate. Part of the other component of inclusion is that people need to feel safe in order to express their opinions. And they also have to trust the process, that when they speak, they will be regarded as an equal, right? So that out of that comes a more cohesive team relationship, a more cohesive functioning. So that is the environment such where I can be congruent and everybody else can be congruent too, so that I can speak from the source of my own values of who I am as a person, and I can trust that it will be received with respect, even if there's difference of opinion. And can I then, as a leader, create that environment so that all of the participants have the same degree of safety, inclusion, and trust, so that they too can be congruent. And if, as teams, we can do that, that's how we will come to the greatest features of cohesion, and we'll be functioning at an optimal level.